Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. A quick info before we begin. Today's video has two stories and both of them have updates. Now let's get started with the first one. This post is from the subreddit Relationships and it's by user See You Later Gone. Me, 33 male, with my wife, 33 female, of 9 years. She cheated and I'm gone. I will try to keep this brief. Thanks to all of you who have contributed to the breakup threads and infidelity threads in this sub over the past few months. There have been many evenings when many hours have been spent poring over the advice that is generated from these posts. It has helped me to formulate a plan and then execute it. So here is the short version of the last 7 months. Happily married, no kids, and both professionals. My job requires a good bit of travel, which is not a big deal since her job forces her to work 80+ hours a week. We're both very busy, but her much more than myself. It all started for me about 7 months ago. A few things just didn't add up, so based on the advice on Reddit, the investigation began. It took me a long time to figure out what was going on because she was excellent at covering her tracks. Then, around 5 months ago, all of the pieces came together and outside help was brought in to help me get all my ducks in a row. An attorney was hired and so was a private investigator. 4 months ago, everything was confirmed 100% by the private investigator and that was all the proof that I needed. Now, after much thought and preparation, today is the day that everything ends. I have been planning it since the visual confirmation earlier this year. She is being served at her office today at 4 p.m. and based on conversations she's had with me and conversations she has been having with the other guy, there is no way she has any idea that this is coming from me. It will be a shock, but certainly not a surprise. The divorce will be very simple since we earn about the same amount of money and don't have a ton of stuff. The truck is in front of the house and it is now loaded. I am moving out of state. It doesn't matter where I live since I am in sales and my territory is half of the United States. The furniture that is going with me is everything that was given to me by my family when we got married. She can have everything else and she is going to be keeping 3/4 of it anyway. I am driving the truck myself and can't wait to get to my new condo and start a brand new life. My last 6 months have been pure hell. So here's my question, and I think I already know the answer, but would love to hear your opinions. Her other guy is a co-worker at the law firm. He's in his early 50s with a wife and 3 daughters. They don't appear to work in the same department, and he is not her boss. By all appearances, he has a great family and a great life. Do I contact his wife as I am leaving town? Would you want to know? Am I just being spiteful? Well, OP, first things first, of course, your soon-to-be ex-wife sucks, so serving her with divorce papers while leaving town, fantastic. And on that note, I have to say, congratulations on that spine. You didn't play the pick-me game, you didn't start looking for ways to fix this or give her another chance. She cheated on you, she's gone, and so are you. Congratulations. Now, at the end of your post, you post 3 questions, and I'm going to try to answer them back to front. So I'll start with, are you being spiteful? And I know you shouldn't answer a question with another question, but I would ask, does it really matter at this point? And I know that doesn't sound very polite, but let's look at it. Like, why would you feel spiteful? Are you damaging somebody's reputation? Are you hurting somebody's feelings? I don't think so. I mean, the only people that could get their feelings hurt are the wife of the affair partner and the daughters. But in that case, we connect it to question number 2, and even though it might hurt, yeah, I think they should know. And that connects us to the first question. Do you contact the wife while you are leaving town? I would say no, not while you're leaving town. You don't need all that stress and that drama right now. So just focus on the road, focus on getting where you need to get, and once you're settled and you have a chance to breathe and think, then you figure out what's the best way to expose the both of them. You can send all the documents to the wife, you can send the documents to HR, that's up to you. My bottom line here is that I believe that the wife deserves to know. And what do you guys think about this situation? What would you do if you were in OP's shoes? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Deleted says, while I always operate under the assumption that I would want to know this, keep in mind that if your wife loses her job over this, then it could have a negative outcome for you in the divorce, as you two will no longer be earning about the same. Ask yourself if the relief you would feel from revenge is worth the potential financial cost. Also, keep in mind that revenge can be delayed. You could wait until your divorce is final and then tell the other guy's wife. That would have less potential to negatively impact you financially. Decult says, quote, "Would you want to know, am I just being spiteful?" End quote. The problem is that both propositions are true. Most likely, she would like to know. On the other hand, of course, you're being spiteful. Be honest, your motivation right now is to leave as much scorched earth as possible. Understandable, but not pretty. But you know what? You don't have to decide right away. The way this is going down is going to have her lover extremely nervous anyway, so your move is already going to jumpstart his anxiety. There may be good reasons for telling his wife, but vengefulness is not one of them. Wait until you're over your first rage and decide the question on its own merits and not your own rage. BS Crazy soon-to-be ex-divorce says, "There is a certain catharsis in lighting the match and having their whole world burn down as you leave, especially if you are never going to contact her again, kinda like a mic drop." But then there is the other half. What's dreadful is to pretend that second rate is first rate. To pretend that you don't need love and respect when you do. To lie to yourself and say everything is okay when it isn't. Or to convince yourself that you like your work when you know darn well you're capable of much better. Bottom line, love yourself enough to never lower your standards for the wrong reasons. So doing it to get back at her is lowering your standards, but doing it so the other innocent person isn't living a lie, well, that seems fine to me. Additional information from OP's comments. "I am sure that she will rush home after getting the papers, and when she gets there, she will find nothing of mine in our home. I was going to leave my wedding ring on the kitchen counter, but decided against that. My wedding ring is worth about $100 anyway, so there's not much I could do with that. Anyway, my original plan is to wait until the divorce is final. This way, I avoid any stupid acts of revenge on her part. I'm just here because I wanted to make sure that I was thinking clearly. I will let you know if my phone starts blowing up this afternoon from her. I should be all the way to North Carolina by then. She deserves everything that comes her way." OP's short-term update number 1. She got the papers, phone calls and texts non-stop for the last 15 minutes or so. Her sister and mother have phoned me as well. I have not responded to any of them. Also, I am moving from a large city into the northeast of Florida, trying to get to South Carolina tonight and then to my final stop tomorrow. I am stopping for gas and coffee right now, and I really appreciate all the kind words. OP's short-term update number 2. I am still on the road but getting closer to my new home. Last night was very interesting. I did not speak with her or text her. I did speak on the phone with my mother and her sister. My words were very careful and thought out to her sister, as I would expect her to hang up the phone with me and tell her everything. Talking to my mom was not easy. It is a humiliating situation to discuss with your family. My mom gave me 100% support and is coming to visit me next weekend at my new place. Moms are the best. I will get settled in and update everything in a couple of days. I have decided not to contact the boyfriend's wife at this time. I could change my mind down the road, but for now, no contact with her is planned. Looking forward to starting new. Alright, well, the community definitely gave OP better advice than I did. They told him to wait until the divorce is final before blowing anything up, and actually that makes a lot of sense. So I stand corrected and I'm switching to, wait until divorce is final before blowing up their life. That's a lot safer, I think. Now, according to OP's additional context, that was his original plan, but to his second update, he's changed that and he's not planning on telling her yet. So with all that, it's time that we move on to the update to see how this story ends, but of course before that, here's another one of my playlists for you to enjoy after this video. Now let's move on to the update. I got into my new place Friday evening and gotten packed and settled in on Saturday. It is very strange to be starting over again, but it is the right thing to do. Thank you for all of your encouragement and your questions, and on that point, I'll now answer some questions you all had. There was never a response to my soon-to-be ex-wife. Her calls and texts went unanswered, and they eventually stopped yesterday morning. The last one she sent said she will sign the papers and grant me the divorce. Wow, thanks. There was some conversation between her sister and me. We had a brief guarded phone call a few nights ago and then a long and very helpful follow-up 2 days later. While she wants to protect her sister, she understands exactly why I did what I did and doesn't blame me for it. After the call, there doesn't seem to be any hostility towards me and I am grateful for that. Also, on the topic of telling my ex's affair partner's wife, based upon many of your suggestions, the other guy's wife will have to remain in the dark from me for now. Leaving the situation from me means not staying involved. Now, if she called me up and wanted to know what was going on, I would tell her everything, no hesitation at all. I'm just simply not going to pursue telling her as I'm going to focus on myself. Now, here's the hard part. How did I catch her? Well, last summer, there were some subtle changes in her behavior. Each one of these by itself is no biggie, but as a group, they bothered me. She started drinking more. It went from 1 drink of wine once a week to nearly every night. Also, there were a couple of times when she lost her cool over little things that tend to happen in life. Blowing up at a waitress, a guy on the metro, a kid at Chipotle, etc. She was never like that before. Then there was a night where she yelled at her parents on the phone and hung up on them, which was way out of character for her. But here is the one that set all of this in motion. At a wedding last fall, one of our college friends was there and recently divorced. The friend was lonely and feeling terrible about herself. My wife suggested that someone should sleep with her to get her confidence back and that she was alright with it if it was me. My wife was offering me up to sleep with our recently divorced and depressed friend. Needless to say, I was stunned and would never do anything like that. Later that night, while lying in bed thinking about this, the only reason that I could think of for her to say something like that was that she was fooling around and looking for a way to ease her guilt. And I was right. It just took me a while to piece together what was going on. As stated in my original post, the guy is an older man who works for the same firm as her. For a while, they were meeting during the day at different hotels around town. When I was out of town, she was hosting him in our home. They used our guest bedroom, which did not occur to me for almost 6 weeks. After establishing how they communicated, burner phone hidden in her car, and where they were meeting, our house mostly, it was easy for me to gather all the evidence that would make it easy for me to file papers. I'm really thankful I didn't doubt getting a lawyer and a private eye. With a private eye, you can hear and see everything in graphic detail. Of course, there were a lot of tears shed by me when confronted with the blunt reality of what was going on and what she was saying about me to him, and overall what was happening in my own home. However, as many of you have pointed out, she is the one in the wrong, and I can hold my head up high, knowing that I did the right thing. So I hope that answers some questions, and now I'll continue to live my best life. Thanks again for all your support and comments. Well, P, I'm gonna call this a happy update. Sure, you're not gonna tell the affair partner's wife, and that is your prerogative, but still, you are in a better place and you are moving forward with your life, and like you say, you're going to continue to live your best life. Maybe someday you'll send her the documents exposing her husband for cheating. I hope you do it because I do believe that she deserves to know what is really going on in her marriage. But like I just said, it is your choice. So here's wishing you all the best in the future, OP. Take care and thank you for sharing. Now, let's move on to the next post that, like I said in the beginning, also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Relationships and it's by user I am but a little cream puff. My 23 female ex-boyfriend's 24 male new girlfriend, 22 female, wants me to stop spending time with his daughter, 6 female. Okay, I'll try to keep this short and completely factual because I really would like to do what is best for everyone. So Mike and I were together for 3.5 years and we lived together with his daughter Bri for 1.5 years. We decided to split about 1.5 years ago because we agreed we were better suited as friends, and he had a part of his life that I couldn't handle as a romantic partner. We ended up staying close afterward and it has really worked out well because I absolutely love his daughter, Bri. She and I spend a lot of time together and she has come to know me as sort of a close aunt type of figure, and I view her as basically my niece. I watch her probably 3 times a week while Mike is at work, and it just kind of works for both of us. Anyway, the problem sort of started maybe a few weeks ago. Mike started seeing a girl, Lisa. I was honestly glad Mike had found someone to make him happy. He hadn't yet introduced her to Bri, but this past week or so, Lisa found out how much time I spent with her, and I guess it made her pretty upset because she messaged me on Facebook saying that I need to stay away from Bri and Mike. She demanded that I cut all contact with them and that if I cared for Bri at all, I'd leave now. This broke my heart. Most of the time I spend with her is really without Mike, and she and I have grown incredibly close. I taught her how to swim, how to spell, how to tie her shoes. Bri was abandoned by her mother when she was 2, and I know she has issues with abandonment. I love her to death, and I don't know what I'd do without being able to see her ever again. Despite all this, I want to do what is best for her, and I guess that's where you guys come in. What should I do now? Would it be better for her in the long run if I back off and stop seeing her, or should I go a different route? I'm going to be talking to Mike about it on Wednesday. Well, OP, the first thing I'd say is, who the hell is Lisa and why does she think she has the authority to tell you to back off? The only person that has the right to tell you that you need to cut contact with them is Mike himself, nobody else. Particularly some jealous new girlfriend that wants to step in or something. I don't know what her deal is, but the main goal here is to keep Bri safe. And to me, OP, that means that you're not going anywhere. And I'm not saying that like you're obligated to do it. You clearly love this little girl, and from what I understand, she loves you too. So as long as you keep your relationship with Mike civil, then I see absolutely no reason why you should leave Bri's life at any point. So OP, regardless of whatever this Lisa girl is saying over Facebook, please do not abandon Bri. You love her, she needs you, stay with her. And what do you guys think? What advice would you give OP? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. I own a guitar says, you need to talk to Mike. His girlfriend has no business dictating who gets to interact with his daughter. If Mike himself wants you to cut contact with Bri, that's different, but his girlfriend is out of line and reacting purely out of jealousy. From what you've described, there is nothing wrong with your relationship to Bri. You are an adult she can trust. A kid can't really have too many of those. Talk to Mike, see what he says. He might not even know she messaged you. Year of Yes says, you're doing the right thing by talking to Mike about it soon. I believe she had no business contacting you, demanding you cut off contact with Bri, seeing that Mike and you have those times scheduled for you to see and spend time with her. It's a big demand from a woman who just walked into his life. I'm not sure how changing partners often affects a young child's development, and that's something Mike needs to look into. You've known the little girl for 3 years, spent an incredible amount of time with her, and taught her a lot. You've been a mother figure in the absence of her own, and that is heartbreaking indeed. But you are not her mother nor Mike's partner. I believe his girlfriend is overstepping her boundaries and she has nothing to worry about. But on the long term, she might think this would mean her boyfriend's ex will be in their lives forever. Bottom line, talk to Mike and I'm sorry. Deleted says, I think this decision is her father's and not the new girl on the block. Now, what's best for his daughter at the moment is it all staying the same for her, so I would continue your visits and talk it over with him. Who's to say this new squeeze does not walk away in a year? Contact him and tell him what happened and talk it through. I will say one thing though, do not use his daughter to stay in his life. And if you see yourself walking away from her and stopping visits, do it sooner than later. And damn Daniel White Vans says, screenshot the message, show it to Mike and ask him what he wants. I have a feeling he might not want to be with someone like that, or worst case scenario, he asked her to message you and he needs to tell you himself if he wants you out of his daughter's life. Alright, well, the community raised a lot of good points regarding OP and Bri's relationship, but most of all, OP needs to talk to Mike regarding this new girlfriend. She's definitely overstepping, so Mike needs to be in the know. Now, unfortunately, OP did not reply to any comments, so we have no additional context, which means we move straight on to the update to see how the story ends. Last Wednesday night, I ended up going over to Mike's house in order to talk face to face. I showed him the messages Lisa sent me over Facebook and he seemed upset, but not surprised. Turns out, he did mention how much time I spent with Bri around the time she messaged me, and as soon as he told her, she started acting kinda wacky. He caught her looking through his phone and computer afterward. She would ask him if he was talking to me basically anytime he was texting someone. He and I don't even really text. And this is the weirdest in my opinion. Anytime Bri would mention me, apparently Lisa would start telling Bri about how she was such a better new girlfriend for her daddy and how she wouldn't have to miss me if I ever went away because she was there. Huh? Obviously, that made him pretty angry in itself and he was basically about to break up with her soon because of these things. So after I showed him the texts, Mike broke up with her the next day and that was that, right? Wrong. Around 9 p.m. the next day, Lisa appeared out of nowhere at my door and started banging on my door, screaming about how I was taking her new daughter and Mike away from her, how I was ugly and how Mike liked her so much more in bed. What? At this point, I was pretty freaked out and I just decided to ignore her until she went away. After about 10 minutes of her freaking my neighbors out, I screamed that I was going to call the police and she went away. So that was last week and I haven't heard from her since, but I guess she's talking a lot about me on social media. Oh well, Mike and I both agree he dodged a crazy bullet. No, OP, not just Mike, all of you dodged a crazy bullet. Like really, this girl needs help. She's been dating for a few weeks and now she's complaining or screaming that somebody else stole her new daughter away from her? Yeah, that's not normal. At least, I don't think so. Regardless, she's out of the picture and the most important thing is that Bri still has you. Thank you for sharing, OP, and here's wishing you all the best in the future. Take care. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out, so here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later, and also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.